everyone, it's Xang, aka Lao Athlete, and in this video we'll be going over a few exercises that you can do for cheap at home with just a $3 bucket and a few cans from your cabinet. Alright, so if you guys can get past the funny looking hair sticking out the back of my cap that I just noticed, the first exercise you see me doing here is obviously the bicep curl. So the cool thing about the bucket is that you can adjust the weight very easily by taking out the cans and putting more in if you need it, and just putting it on like a body scale to see what the weight is at. And if your body scale is not like turning on right away when you put the cans on there, sometimes you just need to like tap it a bit with your foot to activate it and then throw the bucket on there. So for each of these exercises I would generally do like 3 sets of 8, and only like a minute and a half rest in between each set. With the bicep curl specifically, I noticed that the bucket's kind of annoying. Sometimes it'll like drag across your body, kind of get in the way. So you might need to lean forward a slight bit. You don't want to lean forward too much because it kind of limits your range of motion for the bicep curl. But just a slight bend forward and you should be able to get a nice full range of motion. And make sure to not only control the weight while you're pulling it upwards and curling it, but also while you're lowering it. So slowly lower the weight and try to extend your arm as much as possible without hyperextending it, and keep that tension throughout the movement. The next exercise is lateral shoulder raises. And if you can get past the awkward left hand under my butt cheek, man, I didn't realize I do so many awkward things, but so sorry for that. I tend to do that sometimes. For me, it helps me to maintain my posture and focus on keeping my core tight without like swinging or using any momentum. So I've done it for a while with my upright exercises, but I never noticed that it looks so funny. So I don't know, might have to work on that. Anyways, lateral shoulder raises. I like to do this on my back and bicep day. One of the things I like about the lateral raises for traps is that for me, I really feel a nice squeeze at the top of the movement when really concentrating on the traps. So, focus on that mind-muscle connection, get that squeeze in. One of the downsides is that you can't really load a whole lot of weight on it, and if your shoulders are torched, yeah, they're really hard to do. So generally like to do this more towards the front of my workout and save the shrugs for after and towards the end. So for this exercise, similar to a lot of things I already mentioned, stay upright, maintain your posture, keep your core tight. This next exercise is the front raise. So the front raises will help you to obviously target the front head of your shoulder muscles. I'd actually prefer doing this on a chest and tricep workout day or a push day. I just feel like it syncs a lot better with those types of muscle groups that you're working on that particular day. It snuck its way into this video because you can do it with the bucket, and it came to my mind at the time after doing the lateral shoulder raises. So one thing that I did forget to add though is you can definitely do rear delt raises as well with the bucket, and that I would definitely do on like a back bicep day. So I just wish I thought of that at the time, but I didn't. If you do decide to do the rear delt raises, or essentially it's like a reverse fly, you'd basically use the same form that I'll describe in my bent over rows coming up. Alright, but back to the front raises. Pretty much the same form as the lateral raises. It's an upright exercise, so as you can see, I am cupping under my butt cheek like I was with the lateral raises, but except the other cheek this time. Try it out, see if it helps you guys to maintain your posture and keep your core tight. But those are definitely two things that you want to keep in mind while you're doing this exercise. With all of these exercises, I guess there's not a whole lot to it. You're pretty much just lifting it straight ahead of you or to the side of you. For me, I like to keep a slight bend in my elbow. You don't want to hyperextend or anything like that. and try to get full range of motion while maintaining that tension in the focused muscle group area. Alright, time for the bent over rows, with me looking like alfalfa again. Alright, so this is a little bit challenging with the bucket. You may not be able to go all the way down because of the height of the bucket. It might stop you with the floor getting in the way. If you have a little stepping stool at home, it'll definitely help in this situation to stand on that while you're doing this. It would allow you to get a more fuller range of motion and lean forward a bit more if you wanted to focus more on the mid-back muscles. On the other hand, if you don't have a footstool, you can just make do like I did right here. Lean forward as much as you can while still getting like a full range of motion when you're extending your arm. Like all of these other exercises, while extending your arm, be careful not to hyperextend your elbow, as that'll wear down on your joints. While you're pulling back, really focus on squeezing those back muscles. One thing that I see a lot of people do with the rows that I don't necessarily agree with is really pulling back as far as you can. I pull back a little far here just to get fuller range of motion since I can't bend over all the way, but generally the furthest back you really want to go is so that your back of your upper arm is parallel with the ground. This is a really nice compound exercise that you can load a little bit more weight on, and I generally like to do my compounds towards the front of the workout. Alright, now we're doing shrugs. Alright, so this is focusing on the traps, the big and scary muscles by your neck. So the way a lot of people used to do shrugs is like they would do like a roll towards the back, sometimes even a roll forward. That's actually a really bad motion that can mess up your rotator cuff, so I wouldn't recommend doing any of those rotation movements. Instead, what I try to focus on is pulling in a diagonal direction, so not pulling towards my ears, but more so pulling like towards the direction of like the bottom of my neck. So if you try that right now without weights, you'll be able to really feel the squeeze in that trap muscle, which is what you want. So it shouldn't hurt or anything. You shouldn't feel any discomfort. You should just feel that nice squeeze. This is a nice exercise to load up some weight on, but if you're not comfortable with, familiar with feeling that squeeze, I would definitely, gradually build up with that weight. And of course, for all of these exercises, you'll want to do both sides. So if you're rich enough to get 2 buckets, maybe you can do them both at the same time. You can also see it maybe being annoying because the buckets are so clunky. But yeah, generally the way I've been doing it is doing one side for like 8 to 10 reps, doing the other side right away, and then taking my 30 to 60 second break. Alright, so let me know what you guys think of this video. If you guys found it helpful, then I'll definitely make a lot more videos similar to this, just talking through the form and technique of each of the exercises and my thoughts on it. Please comment below if there's any other exercises I missed with the bucket technique. I know my home workouts would appreciate it, and maybe other people's as well watching this video, and hopefully getting some nice home workouts in. Me personally, as much as I love the gym and my weights, I don't think I'm gonna go back until the whole COVID stuff blows over entirely. Not risking getting sick and losing even more progress by being out of office, essentially. Alright, thanks again everyone. Sah Tu.